Actually, it's the council. The lead council. What about the council? The council, I think they were
don't bring the whole village. So don't bring the whole village.
About the cost.
The cost for what?
It's okay.
You want to see the amount because she read the amount.
He asked for 50,000. That
is why you
Thank you. Kayole ama
Na shida iko sawa. Hata hivi iko sawa. Okay, okay. Nenda. Utaweza kumaliza sasa? Okay, shika basi. Endelea, endelea.
Tushachukua judgment.
Osoro, nishikie maidia.
Sitaandika. Sitaandika.
Nani? Nani atakushikia?
Roja.
Mungu tusonga ngende.
Sawa, utachukua ama? Karamba to.
Yama. Kama bala. Kwambia ukae hapa.
On the matter before court, my lawyer will talk on that. Then I'll get back.
Yes, we had come for a hearing of a case in which the owner of Marble Ark had sued Governor Mike Sonko when, during his tenure, after due diligence and investigation of documents, the governor had established that, in fact, part of the land that is claimed by Motisi Investments Limited, Marble Ark, is land set aside for the extension of the fire station. Now, the protection of public land is part of the mandate of any CEO of a county, that is a governor. So he did then execute that mandate in furtherance of the law. But the governor said, wait a minute, there are documents in demonstration that this was land set aside for the extension of the fire station. And therefore, it was unavailable for alienation to anyone. Now, that culture of private property to extend to ownership of public land is what the governor was fighting all along. And the fact that he sees being a governor did not take away from the fact that he was a person responsible at the material time as alleged against him. So he showed up. He came up to court and to the defense of the public interest, but against whom allegations are made. And very happily for him, the East African Court of Justice has then constituted a 5-judge bench to look at the issues of the allegations as to whether in fact he should have been impeached. Was that impeachment lawful? And I'm happy that that case is pending for adjudication. I am not going to address it because of the principle of sub judice. But you can see a person who is dedicated, was dedicated, remains dedicated to the public interest. And you have allegations made against him during the tenure of his office as the governor of Nairobi City County, that they who have made those allegations are not even ready and prepared to prove. So we are very happy that he has proven that indeed he is ready and prepared to act in defense of the public interest. And what was of grave concern to him is that even our own children who are playing in public schools as part of their childhood are deprived of that childhood. In essence, because public land that is supposed to be playgrounds, public land that is supposed to be part of educational institutions have been grabbed. But he stood in defense of our children. He still stands in defense of our children.
The petitioner, or the guy who sued me, has sought for an adjournment through his advocate. The court has accepted, but we are happy. We have been awarded costs because they're the ones who sought for an adjournment. They knew the case was coming up for hearing today. So we're just here to shed light. We have all our maps from the survey to show that this is stolen land. It is land that has been grabbed. And we are not here for any malice. The owners of Marble Ark are investors in this great county of ours. We just want to lay the facts as they are. Because in the land record, it clearly shows the land sits on a public land. Part of it. I said it when I was the governor, the lawyers clarified, and I'm saying it again today. Marble Ark sits on a public land belonging to Nairobi County. The law is very clear. We don't want the hotel to be demolished. He's an investor. I'm nobody today in this county, but I was the governor. I'm out of office now, and I'm repeating the same sentiments that parts of that land belongs to the great people of Nairobi. It's a public land. What we're after is, I'm sure we're going to win this case. We want the owners to do a compensation to the Nairobi County. That is what I'm after. And because I've been summoned by the court, I've honored by coming to court. So I've come, they have not shown up, and the court has awarded me and my counsel costs of today's attendance. Unless you have any other question.
What is your take on issues of tax?
On issues of tax, I think the president has already clarified on that. Everybody has to pay tax, including myself. Unless you have any other question.
And what is your response to Mama Ngina settlement?
Who?
Mama Ngina settlement.
Mama Ngina. On what she said.
On the issues of tax.
I think we saw her, I think she was in a church. Then akasema the government is targeting her properties, which is very wrong. We respect her. She's our mother. Alikuwa first woman of this country before. And I think people fear her, or fear the family. But I think I will respond to her allegations or sentiments in a very njia ya kiheshima sana. I will say we respect her a lot. And the government is not targeting any of her assets. I only have one question for our mother, whom we respect a lot. We respect the family a lot. There are so many things which happened when her son was the president. We saw widows in Kayole, Ruai, yeah, Kariobangi, nyumba zao zilibomolewa. The tax issue to compensate those land owners, those widows of Katundu South, where the university has been constructed. Article 40, Article 4 of the Kenya Constitution empowers anyone who wants to acquire any land anywhere to compensate those landowners or squatters. But let the truth be known. We want for everything justice in hands of Kukuja. So give evidence on what transpired here in Kenya, and before there is no any active matter now. Because if it's a matter of review, I don't find any review. Maybe I can shed some light. I think there was a lot of political influence during that time. When I was impeached, we saw some senators also. They spoke in Senate that they were bribed by the former president. Each was given 4 million to vote against me. And then also they had the president himself, the former president, was on record saying, "I'm the one who instigated that impeachment of that friend of mine." And then also, remember during our hearing at the Supreme Court, I was cleared in Mombasa. That was on 13th of July to vie as governor of Mombasa. Then just the following day, we were summoned by the Supreme Court that we have to proceed with the hearing. I was in Mombasa with all my lawyers because the judgment of my IBC case was delivered on 13th of July. The Supreme Court told us we have to appear before them on 14th. And we were supposed to file papers by end of 13th of July. We had no time. All this evidence about Justice Chitembwe was not in the Supreme Court. And one funny part, the Supreme Court we wrote to the Supreme Court and told them you have not given us directions to file our submissions so that we proceed with the case. And remember, I said it and I want to repeat it now. The Supreme Court did a letter with the Deputy Registrar, apologized to us that it was an oversight. They didn't know that we were not served, or we were not served with the directions to file our final submissions. And we have that letter. They said we apologize, but however, we must proceed. And remember, this was a case that had over 14 lawyers with over 50,000 pages. A case with 14 lawyers being concluded within 24 hours. And an interim judgment given. So that was politics. We were not given right to fair hearing. That is against Article 50 of our Constitution. Yeah.
I think one very fundamental aspect has come out of that Justice Chitembwe's removal from office. The verdict of the tribunal has been the failure of the justice system to accord a litigant before the court, in particular Governor Sonko, a fair hearing, twisting the course of justice because of political expediency, corruption, and other self-interest, which a judge should be above. But here is a victim of political witch hunt. Here is a victim of clear corruption on the part of a judge. And it is right, and it is good that the justice system should not be sabotaged, hijacked, or otherwise manipulated by the political players who feel that they are under some threat by rising political competitor or someone who is totally innocent because they have stood in the way of some economic interest or benefit that they would like, they wish to derive from the political position. And it was Governor Sonko's move that stopped the NMS from taking 27 billion from the residents of Nairobi City Council. Today, we have a debt of 40 billion that was accrued during the last period of the last administration. Governor Sonko had stopped that. But someone in the political office at the apex of this country then thought that he has blocked the access to those funds and therefore he should be removed. So it is wrong for us to have history repeat itself. And it is good that we should undo this mess because then we will have created a precedent. But it speaks volumes that a judge who was given an opportunity to say that I did this or I did that in terms of the impeachment was unable to do it. More fundamentally, his signature is not on that judgment. Neither of the other two judges have a signature on that judgment. Yet that judgment was upheld by the Court of Appeal. Yet that judgment was upheld by the Supreme Court. What justice?
Nairobi, who wants me to be their governor? Section 3, Nairobi water houses were grabbed during NMS time. The land was given to proxies, state house proxies, former state house proxies. They know themselves. Former MCS, we are bringing a case here tomorrow. Will you be ready by tomorrow now?
Sure.
A week, maybe by a week. We want that land to be repossessed for Nairobi water in Section 3 easily. County houses were demolished. We are going to repossess them and return them back to Nairobi City County government. Another important point the lawyers mentioned, on one of the video clips that was used by the tribunal, we saw Judge Chitembwe, I'll share that video with you, admitting that former state house proxies, former deputy controller, one of my lawyers, whom I'm taking him to the disciplinary committee also, Cecil Miller, George Kariuki from State House, former majority leader, went to his house with a message from the president and the judge accepted. Akasema kama mmetuma na president sawa on my impeachment case, and that clip is there. And then also I remember at the judge's house, the judge showed us there was a ruling to return me back to office against my impeachment, but he told me he was forced to rarua that ruling and do another one. That is why you guys were here since morning waiting for the judgment of my impeachment case, case number 425, but the impeachment was delivered at night until 11 p.m. But there was a judgment to return me back to office, but instructions came from above. That judgment was raruliwa. We have all those clips, and the judge confessed, he admitted. Cecil Miller himself confessed, he was my lawyer. Aligeuka because of loyalty for money. He backstabbed me against there's some conditions governing all lawyers. If you're representing your client, you're supposed to be with him. Ethics, you're supposed to be with him. But he decided to backstab me. Went to this state house cartels all the way to Judge Chitembwe's house. I told the judge we have been sent by state house, by the president, that Sonko is not wanted. And my judgment was destroyed. A fresh judgment was prepared. So I just wanted you guys to know about this.